that mission that he sets him on, not just as protector, but also to provide a future. What do I do now? You can think about it. You can think about all the things that happened. Obviously, the wise men came before they fled to Egypt, and some other things that we'll talk about. There's amazing things that already happened in this short life, but now they're in Egypt, and now they're going back to this new place, going back home after this great adventure of all this crazy stuff that's happened. What do I do now? I had this same kind of conversation. It was in my heart when I was in Paris. We had the 2 kids. We had just had Shiloh. And I went with a walk with one of our mentors. His name is Gordon White. He's with the Lord now. And I was walking down along the Seine, right where we lived in our town, just outside Paris. And I started talking to Gordon, because Gordon had been a pastor for 30 years and a missionary for 25 years. And he was in the twilight of his life, but he was still serving the Lord. And I started having this conversation with him, and I said, Gordon, how do we trust God? How do we walk this stuff out? Am me being here, or Celeste and I being here, is this the best path for our kids to have a good future? And he said, son, you got to trust the Lord. You got to trust the Lord. He's like, my kids, we took them to this place where there was no schooling, and they had to go off to boarding school. And I had to trust the Lord, and we would cry. He said, Faye, my wife, she would cry herself to sleep, and we had to trust the Lord, that they would still be our children. We could still wrap our arms around them when we saw them. And when they would cherish those moments together, and then they would send their children back away because they were trying to be obedient to the Lord. And as a father, I was heartbroken for him, because you could see it in his face, that time that he lost with his kids. He couldn't get it back. But he was trusting the Lord that their trajectory would be okay, because they had instilled these things and been obedient to God. And I was sitting there talking with him, and his voice was on this video we watched today. I mean, every time I listen to it, it gets me choked up, because I think about his wisdom given to him by the Holy Spirit in his time of how he served with his life and emptied it before the Lord in obedience. And he said, Jay, as long as you're obedient, God will provide for you. I tell you, as a young man who was trying to deal with all those different factors, how to be a father, how to be a provider, how to be a protector, how to be someone who gives a future, man, I was at my wit's end, because the money was coming in short on the mission field. It was right at the financial crisis in 2008 and 2010, and our money was drying up, and the exchange rate was going up, and I was feeling it. And he's like, you just need to trust the Lord and be obedient to the Lord. And friends, I'll tell you this, on the backside of that, after a decade from that conversation, I can tell you that he was absolutely right. That the God who provided a way for Joseph is the same God that will provide a way for you. Because as you're obedient to the Lord, he will provide a way for you, because he loves you very much, and he believes in you and has a plan for your life. And that is the absolute truth. That better than your plan, better than your will, better than your working, God's plan is greater. And he will be all these things for you.